written stories.
Here we are with yet another Stephen King adaptation, and I'm confident that by now anything this man has put to paper has yet to escape the transformation into a motion picture or TV series. For better or worse, that is, as my god there have been some stinkers. But I'll always give a Stephen King film a go, as he is one of the best novelists in the business, especially when tackling horror and thrillers. And when he does try his hand with other genres, well, he gives us Shawshank Redemption, enough said. So firstly, Salem's Lot will be released on HBO Max, sadly avoiding any theatrical release. But is this a negative in this particular circumstance? Occasionally it can be wise to question why they are foregoing the cinematic experience with negative connotations. Still, this film has been on and off the shelf since 2019, and has most certainly been impacted by the SAG-AFTRA strike supported by writers and actors alike. It's also worth considering the rumours of bad early reviews, and therefore it could be that Warner Brothers feel it may not do that well at the box office. But for anyone unfamiliar with Salem's Lot, briefly, what is it about? Well, it follows Ben Mears, a writer who returns to the fictional town of Jerusalem's Lot, or Salem's Lot, located in Maine, only to discover that its residents are slowly being turned into vampires. As the mysterious evil spreads, Ben teams up with a group of surviving locals to confront the vampire master behind the town's terrifying transformation. So there we go, and you know what, the cast is fine, with a few names I've been impressed with in other shows or films. Lewis Pullman has a kind face and has been fantastic in a TV series called Outer Range, which is a little barny but a fascinating show that also stars Josh Brolin. The film even has Stephen King's seal of approval, as he says, "It's muscular and involving. It has the feel of old Hollywood when a film was given a chance to draw a breath before getting to business. When attention spans were longer, in other words, it feels like a horror movie version of slow burn movies like The Great Escape. It builds very well. There are diversions from the book I don't agree with, but on the whole, faithful." Now, I'm sure Mr. King has promoted his film adaptations in the past when later on they did not turn out to be the greatest pieces of work. But I also know he's been candidly open about how he feels regarding the worst of his movies based on his novels. Therefore, I guess all we can do is use our own common sense based on what we see. I'll also say that the director is Gary Dauberman, who has only directed one film before, Annabelle Comes Home. Yes. However, he has written and produced many other interesting projects such as It, Swamp Thing and The Nun. The latter being very mixed in opinions, you could say. But again, none of this information so far has me super hyped. But it's Salem's Lot and is always worth a shot. At best, this film could offer some above average scares, a good story if it sticks to the novel or deviates with some integrity, and perhaps a fun way to spend a couple of hours on a Sunday night. The trailer hasn't hooked me, otherwise I'd have something better to say, but my fingers are crossed, as all I really want are good horror movies. It may even strongly appeal to all the avid vampire fans who are hoping for a chilling return back to the source material. A few shots in the trailer take us back through time to those iconic images of the boy floating in the window, which genuinely did scare people back in 1979 and vividly gave me the creeps when I was very young. There's also a scene in the morgue that reminded me slightly of Evil Dead, and the shivers that film once sent coursing down my spine. So on a positive note, it does have some eerie visuals, a sense of creeping dread, and maybe the promise of a thrilling reimagining that captures the essence of small town horror. And there is something to be said about that. Something incredibly appealing that can be encapsulated within the vibe of the small town setting that I just love. Then again, if we put on our fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice critique hat on, objectively the trailer has an underlying layer of blandness that feels somewhat underwhelming, with familiar horror tropes and those Hollywoodized glossy visuals that don't capture the full intensity of Stephen King's chilling novel. It may very well rely on jump scares and atmosphere without offering much depth or originality. It almost feels too unrealistically small town to the point where every character talks the same way and is a cliche that you've already sussed out before the trailer was over. Hopefully I'm wrong and the film will surprise fans of Stephen King and the horror genre in general. But so far the trailer is leaning on the side of being boringly cozy and predictable. And it doesn't inspire me to believe this will be a fresh take on what a fantastic story this actually is. And the issue is, it needs to be, because as time goes on, we've had other stories inspired by these original works, such as a series called From, which is a fun watch and an exciting twist on the trapped in a small town with undead creatures narrative. So there is competition now. The miserable reality may be that as impressive as Stephen King's novels are, perhaps they've been rehashed too many times and only occasionally with the proper respect those stories deserve. I feel that sometimes audiences are so starved of wonderful stories that we obsess about anything if the trailer looks catchy. Therefore, studios should be obligated to these classic and original stories to at least get them done right, would you agree? I do want to be thrilled to watch this come October, but honestly, the more I watch this trailer, the more I have doubts. It feels too safe for my liking, where everybody has the same expressions and mannerisms, and not much about it feels heartfelt and authentic. Generic is perhaps the right word, I suppose. It's obviously not afraid of a little blood and some pacey action, but will it be enough to save the film? Maybe some of you are thinking, wow, this reaction video spiraled into a somber narration. However, a part of me feels it's tragic that Mr. King's incredible work does not always get the corresponding recognition when adapted to the screen. Of all his publications, the stuff treated with the most care and respect have not strictly been horror. Films like Misery, Stand By Me, The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption were the most critically acclaimed. However, there are some great adaptations of his scarier novels as well, with the likes of The Shining, Carrie, It, Cujo and The Mist. It's actually quite staggering how extensive the list of books he has written is. Today I learned that he wrote The Running Man starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was news to me. I used to watch that exciting film on VHS back to back with Big Trouble in Little China as a kid, fun times. So please tell me if I've missed a point here, and in fact Salem's Lot will blow us all away. As you know, I love horror and I try to cover whatever I can for you guys and girls, so these are my honest thoughts. But as you also know, I'm always very interested in sharing ideas and listening to what you have to say. Therefore, get typing and let me know your thoughts on this film. Whether you're new to this story or if you have a strong history with this novel harbouring some deep expectations, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and stay entertained, you fine people. See you later.